No,
You never have to think of anything. I am the intellectual
right.
driving
I just
force
merely
of this
bounce
show.
along. Hmm.
But Jason, you know, as we know, we
Right.
are going on a 2-week
Mhm.
vacation after this episode. I want to say that before we even start saying anything else, because if these fuckers tune out right away,
Yeah.
they should at least be aware that we are going on
Right.
vacation. So that if they don't see us post for two
No.
weeks, the show isn't
Yeah.
over. We are traveling
Well, you
to
are.
see our families. Is that okay, you guys? Do I need your permission? Do I need your fucking like permission to do that? Is that is that okay? Do you need me to cancel the trip? Is that what you
Or
guys need us to do?
I guess we could we could frame it like they do, say like Serial, right? Where there's definite seasons. In which case, this is the end of the first season, and then it makes sense, right? And then it makes
This is
sense
the end
that
of
there's a
season
break.
one.
Do you know what I mean?
This is
Right,
the end of season one. We have an incredibly short season
right,
production
right,
schedule, so season two will be in 2 weeks. That explains the quality drop off in season one to season
right.
two of Serial. It was 2 weeks later.
But yeah, that's how I think of it. Like,
Oh my god.
some, I guess a lot of podcasts they do it every week or whatever. But I think they're smart and they record ahead, and we always scramble to to get it done every week. So maybe a note for season two: we should plan ahead a little more.
We should plan ahead. Well, how do you plan ahead
True.
when you do what we do on Underworld News Tonight, where we cover the weird, wacky, and
That's
wild news
true
of the what, Jason? What do
of
we
the
cover the
week
weird, wacky, and
of
wild
the
news of?
week.
Can you answer me
Yeah.
that?
Are we going to do it ahead? Yeah.
So how the fuck? How the fuck? Sorry, I don't want to be
Right.
unprofessional. I know HR has talked to me a few times. How the fuck, you goddamn fucking idiot? Like your parents must have
Yeah.
been go-to or cousins or some
True.
shit.
For
If you
sure.
think
No,
we
it's
could
true.
plan ahead more than
No,
we do,
no,
are
you're
you
right.
fucking
I
kidding
mean,
me?
yeah, there's certainly no way we can bullshit about these. We can just cram like a story that's maybe a couple weeks old, but right, it has to be cutting edge.
With them, no, they catch us. This would be like that would be worse than the Logan Paul
That's
suicide
me.
forest thing,
Up
man.
to the minute.
That would be our
Right.
Logan. That would be our dead body. Oh my god.
What?
I'm gonna start a new podcast, Underworld News Tonight, this hour, just so I don't have to go to work
Just
anymore.
right. Every hour, it's like a 15-minute podcast. Hey, have you seen this post on Instagram? Wait, here's a comment.
Wait, guys, do you think about? I just saw some weird shit. I saw two ducks this morning while I was
Yeah.
walking my dog. By the way, I'm Andrew Michaels, man of the people. I'm joined by my co-host Jason Strong, the blue
Yeah,
collar soul of this world, best known for his former job as
that's
bricklayer in the
exactly right.
Kink.com
Yep.
castle.
Yeah. Union, baby. Union strong.
Anyway, I was walking. I, you had to
Mhm.
you had to go on strike for so long just to have them
Right.
stop whipping people while you were working. You said the sun needs to be down in this
Right.
intro. This
Right.
is not an 11 a.m. job.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a timesheet.
Yeah.
We're gonna coordinate it.
Two ducks. You saw two
Yeah.
ducks.
Anyway, I saw two ducks while I was walking my dog. I think they were duck married. I don't know if that's a thing. Your wife's a vet. I don't know if that's a
Yeah.
thing. I think they were duck married because legit, are green ducks boys and brown ducks
boy.
girls? Is that how that works? Or is it
Um,
the opposite?
yeah. No.
That sounds right.
Yeah. No.
We
Yeah.
don't need to look this shit
Yeah,
up.
we
We're
don't
not
have
a
to.
science
No,
podcast.
that sounds plausible. We'll go with that. I don't remember my DuckTales enough.
Yeah. They were just walking very
I don't
close
remember my
together.
Disney's DuckTales enough.
Well, but also like Scrooge McDuck, he never married. That's because he was a
Really?
Catholic priest.
I don't think I
People
knew
don't
that.
know that. Yeah, he was a yeah, when you're a
Uh
Catholic
huh.
priest, you are
No, it
gay
all
married to
tracks.
Jesus.
Yeah. No, cool.
Yeah.
Two married ducks.
Little theology lesson for you, but you
Exactly.
should
Yeah.
probably jump into our first story.
Our first story. This is actually kind of a follow up to a story we did a long time ago. Maybe even been on our first episode. No way to know, and I am not going to check. Uh, this comes to us from
Yeah,
okay.
I don't think it was.
This comes to us from Penn Live by Zach Hoops. PA's Zach Hoops.
Zach Hoops.
Hoopes. Hoops. Penn, yeah. P.
Ooh.
Uh,
Is he British?
I don't know. I'm afraid it doesn't go into detail other than he's a yeah
Yeah, because I just
a
wouldn't want to
platform
platform
British
that.
person.
I, I just don't want to like normalize that for like in
Okay.
this country right now. That's what I'm saying.
Uh, right.
I feel like we fought a war over
Yeah,
this.
I think that's right. That war, the Spanish American War. Yes.
Holy shit! Wait. All right, so that's good. I'm gonna subject our audience before we do this story because I think it's a little sad. So before we do this story, I'm gonna subject our audience so it's gonna make it a little better. Which is, you want to hear my
Boy, do
impression
I.
of somebody from the 1920s? All right. Whoa, Lindbergh baby
Nailed
died.
it. Spot on. Oh, headline again, Penn Live, Zach Hoops. Pennsylvania's Wally the emotional support alligator left in swamp, handler says. Uh, to for bit of a memory refresher, in case you've forgotten, when we originally met Wally on this podcast, he was
He was
yes,
experiencing racial discrimination
yes,
by the Philadelphia Phillies. And as a proud New York Mets fan, let me just say this is exactly why. Fuck 'em. Let's
am I
go,
supposed to clap?
Mets!
Do you do the
Yes. Let's go, Mets!
okay, yes. So when last we met Wally, he was being denied access to a Phillies baseball game, or maybe not. Maybe he didn't want to.
You think an
Oh,
alligator can eat
almost
hot
certainly.
dogs?
Like I think he would need help. I don't think he could order them himself, but I
Yeah.
think if you like got them to him,
Well, I think that he could get a hot dog. I don't
I
think he
guess
would need
that's
help to
no.
obtain one. I don't
I
think he
guess
needs to
no. I
pay
guess you're
for it
probably
or to
right.
like ask for help, right? I think he's yeah. Ideally, his owner is going to order him, and I think Wally is going to be more like nice with people, given that he is
Right,
a
right.
licensed emotional support alligator.
But
So
yeah, I speculate he could eat a hot dog. He could probably eat some nachos if he chose to. I don't really.
yeah. Well,
No,
I wouldn't eat the
I don't really
ballpark
like that
nachos.
cheese. I don't like any of the nachos with like the liquid cheese.
Yeah,
No, thank you. That's my bold stance.
yeah. Uh, no, I agree with that. I agree.
No,
I don't
no, they
trust the
can't. No,
cheese
they
vat.
can't
I
be.
don't think they're cleaning
They
the
can't
cheese
be.
vats. Uh, yeah, I went to a bar. I'm not going to say where. I am going to say it is not where I live, and it is not. Do not ask me if you know me in real life where this bar is because I don't want to talk bad about a business. But I did go to a bar the other night and get a diet
Ugh,
coke, and it came out of a moldy gun, and like
yeah,
that's like an irredeemable place to me. That's like you are. There is nothing that can be
right.
done to salvage this place. You
Yeah,
need to be
at
closed. You
minimum.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, uh, Wally the emotional support alligator, Central Pennsylvania's own reptilian micro celebrity. That's how he's described. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, we don't know
Well,
that.
not anymore, I
How
guess.
many other micro celebrities do you know? What a micro celebrity be?
Micro celebrities? I feel like that's a term that's used online, right?
Okay.
Like people call like a lot of YouTubers. If you don't watch like the big YouTubers, because
Okay.
like we're like too old to watch like
Yeah.
the biggest YouTubers who are like Mr. Beast and shit, right? Um, I by the way, if you want to see something amazing, look at TikTok and look at like Jason Alexander trying to understand what the appeal of
Yeah.
Mr. Beast because he has a podcast now. Would
Right.
you like move over, Jason?
No,
Young
no.
man's game. We don't
I
need
have
another
that
Jason
covered.
in
Yeah.
podcasting. Yeah. He
Uh-huh.
Jason Alexander, he's like a very
Yeah.
bright guy, and he's like trying to understand the appeal of Mr. Beast, and
Okay.
he you got
Okay.
to watch it for yourself. But
Okay.
we're too old to watch the biggest YouTubers. But people who are smaller than that, people like, Big Joel,
No, I don't.
even big like see like you don't know who that is, but like if you
Mhm.
watch a certain sector of YouTube, you would know who that is. Or like a
Mhm.
lot of gaming YouTubers fall in this
Mhm.
category and stuff like that, like especially like people who are in that like low million to like even
Wow.
like high five figure account, like anywhere between like
Oh,
50,000 and a million subscribers, you are kind of a
that
like
many.
what's called a niche internet micro celebrity.
No, no,
Because you're
no.
not going to get recognized on the
No
street,
one
right? You can
ever.
have a million
Right.
YouTube subscribers
Uh-huh.
and no one's going to
Yeah.
recognize you on the fucking street, right? Yeah. Maybe like once or like every couple of months you will be recognized in public. The like fame
Gotcha.
problems you're dealing with are online.
Um, yeah. So Wally, emotional support alligator, believed to be loose in a swamp after being stolen from his enclosure during a trip to Georgia. The animal's handler said in a social media post.
Oh my
Wally,
god.
yeah,
This is devastating to me. Like I'm actually
I'm,
I'm pretty
yeah,
upset at
I
the
think it's
like
fucked
genuine
up
no,
that
I don't know.
someone would
Uh
steal someone's alligator. Like,
yeah, now is this I know you're going to read on in the story. Is this somebody who you think that it's like they were trying to like take it into their own hands and they were like, "Oh, this alligator shouldn't be here and this is the
no,
best solution?" Or do you think that this is
no,
somebody who
they
like
actually have a pretty good
okay.
idea. Uh, so I'll get to that in just a sec.
Okay.
Wally was visiting in Brunswick, Georgia, with his handler, uh, Joy Henny.
Mhm.
Visit Brunswick, Georgia, visiting as you do. We've all been to Brunswick, Georgia, right?
Mhm. Of course, of course. Uh great great
Yeah,
jazz
jazz
scene.
and pecans. That's Georgia, right? Peaches.
Yeah, but be careful listening to that
That is,
Brunswick,
yeah,
Georgia jazz
yeah,
because dancing
yeah.
is illegal.
No,
So, don't
and
tap your fucking foot
God
because
have
that
mercy
does
on your
count.
soul if they catch you shaking your hips.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that, yeah.
Your hips better learn to lie.
No, it was determined.
Worst joke
This
I've
is
ever
according
played.
to the handler, Wally's handler. Wally was taken by someone and placed in another person's yard to scare them as a sort of a prank. So that's even super shitty. Like I would have some I don't want to say sympathy. I would understand if someone was like, "Well, this alligator shouldn't be here. I'm going to take this alligator. You're free, Wally.
Mhm.
Go frolic in the wild." But this is some asshole that wanted to scare
Right.
somebody. The person who no, no, this is
Yeah.
really bad.
But it's fucking
Yeah, this
horrible.
does actually piss me off.
Because it's so many levels of like you want to do that and then it's also like, you want to upset
No,
someone just
right.
with an alligator. That's not great, right? You don't care about like because I even
Yeah,
understand being like,
right,
oh, this person shouldn't have an alligator, and like Wally, the emotional support alligator, seems like a situation that I don't
right,
want to weigh in on whether or not he should have it. So much as I do want to say he does have it, and an animal like that is not like it's not like releasing just a wild alligator into the
right,
wild because
right.
Wally's accustomed to a certain life, right? And like I don't know,
No,
I
no,
know it's a
yeah,
bit dark, but like like Wally's accustomed to a certain life, and like
no.
this isn't fucking Jack London. I don't even know what happens in Call of the Wild. I didn't read that shit as a kid, so
No,
I don't know. Does the dog die
no. The dog
in Call
actually,
of the? Oh, great.
uh, the dog actually, yeah, he like fully reverts to, uh, his wolf like ancestors' way of life. Like he becomes like a wild animal. Um, yeah,
Yeah. Man, I bet it's because they let them keep their
Yeah,
balls back
that's
then.
probably it.
Yeah, because I do
I
not
reckon
think that
not.
Lentil's gonna
Yeah.
do that. Because my wife's gonna be upset when she hears this, but I did
Uh-huh.
give him, like, half a slice of pastrami the other night, uh, because I was having some because I was, hungry after getting back from the bar
Right.
I had Coke from a moldy gun at, and, I was like, "I better put something, like, super processed in my mouth to absorb the mold where it can't grow further." So I had, like, this pastrami in the freezer, and he's looking at me, all sad, and I'm like,
A
bud,
little right.
you do deserve,
Have
some
a
Jewish
little
cold
pastrami as
cuts.
a treat.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, Wally can't watch Phillies games out there in the swamp. He
No.
can't,
Yes. Yeah.
he's accustomed to life
Yeah.
with people.
Yeah, so what had
Um,
happened was, Wally's stolen, put in someone's yard as a to scare them. The person whose yard Wally was put in, understandably called the authorities. Animal control came and collected Wally and released him into a nearby swamp with, and I quote, with about 20 other stray alligators. So is this like an alligator orphanage or like an alligator group home?
oh, I mean, I think there are a lot of gators in the swamps,
Oh yeah, yeah.
like, well,
Right. Right.
Georgia, Florida, like this is the Gulf. Like, there's a lot of like
Right. But what
20
makes me
stray alligators in the swamp. I guess they probably do find that. Well, they wander, like they get loose in Florida
yeah.
a lot. Like, my dad grew up in Florida for a period of time. He's from New York, but he like lived for a period of time in Florida. I know a lot of people from there. Like, gators do get out and walk around. Um, Now I will say that like gators are less. It's not that they're less dangerous than people realize so much as on
Yeah.
land when it's not in a swamp a gator is like not really a threat because
Yeah.
they are incredibly lazy animals, right? So like if you don't get near a gator, you are
Mhm.
very unlikely to be charged by a gator. They're pretty slow on foot from what I understand, right? Maybe that's not accurate, but
I
they're
think they
pretty
can
lazy at the very
sprint at
least.
a pretty good clip.
Um
But a very
oh, they
short
can sprint.
distance.
We can outrun a gator. Like because I could also sprint
Yeah.
pretty
I don't
fast.
know. Yeah, you're
I
outrunning the
just need to sprint to
ducks.
my car. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think
No.
the gator needs to outrun a Honda Fit,
No, I yeah. No, I just
even
thought it
if it's
was
a
a stray
2013.
alligator. I guess I'm just imagining like kind of a Netflix animated series about this swamp with these like stray alligators that find themselves there and maybe the like adventures they get into and them learning to become a family.
Like
Right,
the
exactly.
Reptile
There's
Breakfast
like the
Club.
preppy alligator, there's the emo alligator, the jock.
Oh man, that does it does seem nice. I mean, like I feel horrible for the guy who owns Wally. Like
Yeah,
this is obviously pretty devastating. I will say in general, like I don't know enough about like how he
right.
obtained Wally as an emotional support gator. I don't know enough about Wally's story. Uh, I will say in general, like uh if you want a pet,
Yeah,
there's dogs, there's
they're pocket
cats,
pets.
there's
Yeah,
the small pets, there's the fish. There are
yeah,
some reptiles that make good
some pretty
pets
good.
too. Like if you're a reptile person. But if you ever look at something and you think, why don't people have this animal as a pet? It's so nice. Even something that is friendly with people in the wild or can be,
Right,
like there
mhm,
is a reason for it. And like
right.
if it's not a domesticated animal, you don't want it as a pet. If they grow accustomed to people, like that you end up with situations like this. If they don't, there's something else that's happening. And if you still really love those animals, there are plenty of great conservatories, research conservatories you can support.
Yeah,
A lot of the more reputable
yeah,
research zoos, like the Smithsonian, that really have these very immersive, engaging enclosures. Like, I
no,
love
right,
orangutans. I'm never gonna
right,
have a fucking
right,
orangutan in my house, but like I would
right.
love to
Mhm.
support orangutan enclosures, supporting things like man, I usually don't get super genuine on the podcast. Maybe my comedic voice is just changing. But like things
Right.
like supporting these sorts of projects, reducing like palm oil
Mhm.
plantations and the destruction of their habitats and stuff like that. Like with gators, support swamp
Yeah.
conservation, support gator conservatories.
Don't just buy a gator.
Like
Yeah.
don't
No.
you
No.
should not have a gator. Yes, because like I have a dog. Dogs have been selectively
Right, to
bred
be more
since
docile
fucking caveman
and
times.
yeah,
To be more docile, to need people
right,
to varying
right.
degrees. Like, they can be in the wild, but, like,
No.
my dog's not gonna make it in the wild, you know? And my
Mhm,
dog was about to be literally
mm,
executed by
mhm,
the state
yep,
if I did not save him. This thing, people are like, adopt from a no-kill shelter. I'm like, why would I
right.
not adopt a dog who's
Yeah.
about with a gun to its head?
Yep.
They know how to get you.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're absolutely right. The trapper that, caught Wily and released him said, chances of finding him are slim to none. So Godspeed, Wally, and whatever Georgia swamp you find yourself in. I
Yeah.
hope you find hope you find acceptance and perhaps even a family amongst your new alligator peers.
Yeah. Now, do we know, are gators prone to, like, gator to gator aggression? Is that really a thing? Because I mean, a
Right.
gator is like the dominant
I
predator in the
don't. I
swamp.
honestly.
Like, I don't know how
I.
gators interact. I think they're pretty aloof towards
I
each
don't.
other, but
I
I
don't
don't think they really
think
like
so. I
fight, do
don't
they?
think they generally fight. I think they are. They tend to be pretty solitary or like indifferent. I don't know. I did see in a swamp in South Carolina. Um, I did get to see gators in the wild, and even the small ones. It is pretty freaky to like, you're just walking along and you just see like the gators floating in the swamps. Uh, there was a few of them like within close proximity of each other, and that didn't seem to bother one another.
Yeah, I'm sure in, like, maybe, like,
Right?
like,
Almost
males
no,
during mating season or
no. I'm a
whatever. I mean, we're
mason.
not
Yeah,
biologists, right, by any stretch, but, like, uh, yeah, exactly.
like
He's working on the,
exactly.
he's doing
Yeah,
carpentry at Brazzers now.
because that's what masons do.
Uh, like,
But yeah, no, I don't. Right. Um,
Masons do
I swing
carpentry.
both ways. Uh, no, I don't. I don't. Yeah, I don't think they're like. I think they can be. I generally, yeah, I think they sort of ignore each other. Unless the swamp's like tiny, then maybe it's sort of like a cage match. But I imagine, given enough room, like 20 gators will all find
Yeah,
their little nooks and kind of not really fuck with each other.
yeah. Um, I think it's an interesting thing too because, like, I think that, like, people feel they have. I mean, I think this guy did have a bond with Wally, and I think that, like, from all accounts, right, this guy had a really
Yeah,
genuine bond with Wally that was reciprocated by Wally. Wally was a particularly friendly gator
yeah,
towards people. What, like, in some ways,
yeah.
Wally
It does.
was a unique specimen. And
Yeah,
is a unique specimen,
yeah,
presumably,
and it
because, like,
and it
to our
does say
knowledge, he's
that
not
like
dead.
Wally made the rounds
But
doing educational events. Um, yeah, Wally was a very like very much socialized to people.
yeah, um, man, no, that's a that's a tough situation. A gator does have better chances from our wild speculation than, like, what I do know about,
Right.
like, what was happened to chimps
No.
in this
Yeah.
situation, which is, like, not great. Uh, because chimps are obviously
Yes.
very in group, can be very
Yeah.
in group aggressive, especially male chimps, and then also a chimp that's friendly towards people, it's more likely to be a poaching
Yeah.
victim. But gators also, I mean, people eat gator meat down there, so, like, like, I don't
Yeah.
know, man. I don't want to get too
I'm
morbid about
trying to
Wally.
yeah, I'm trying to stay
But
positive and
I hope he's okay.
yeah.
I'm holding out
Mhm.
hope for Wally. Uh, maybe
Yeah.
even he will find his way back. Who knows? But the thing is that people just report him
Right.
as a loose fucking gator. So that's the problem. Is any way that Wally, like, finds his way
Right.
back because he's
So
not a
it's an
dog.
right.
So people are gonna be
Right.
like, "Oh, there's this loose gator on the
Right.
street. We have to shoot this gator."
So
Like,
I guess PSA
yeah.
always chip your gators. put them put a microchip in your gator. No.
Chip your gators, but
No.
that's not enough too
No.
because it's not a homing chip. It's not a fucking homing chip. Like, they're
Right.
not going to take your gator to the
No,
county
they're
animal
not.
shelter to get, like, checked for a microchip. This is the core problem. This is, like, even beyond all the ethics and, like, how things are
Yeah.
bred with quote unquote exotic pets and stuff like that. Like, if something like this happens, nobody is checking your gator or your fox or your fucking,
Right. Mhm.
God forbid, your chimp, but whatever the
Right.
fuck, for a microchip, right? Like even beyond like the worst case scenario of it killing you or ripping your face off. So like this is just not a good situation. Wally
Hmm.
deserves better. Wally's owner deserves better. And I do think the moral of the story is stick to dogs, stick to cats,
Hmm.
stick to the people animals. Um,
Yep.
Now, speaking of grave injustices, though, we talked about how Wally's
Yeah.
faced one at baseball games in the past.
Yes. Hmm.
At a Phillies game.
Right.
Uh, I've got one, unfortunately, involving my own favorite
Mm.
team, the New York
Hmm.
Mets. Uh, this has been reported by CBS. New York Mets fan removed from $1 hot dog night after fans throw extra hot dogs at him. This is a story by Steven Taranto,
All right.
Taranto.
Extra hot dogs. Huh.
A city f- at city extra hot dogs. This was at City Field, formerly the
Hmm.
stadium that replaced Shea
Hmm.
Stadium. I've talked about this on the show before. Shea
Right.
Stadium is a piece of American history
Yeah.
that it is tragic that it got torn down. People say that, like, people treat like building a new stadium in its place as
Yeah.
something like that replaces it. But, Shea Stadium was a place of
Uh huh.
particular historic notability. It was where
Yep.
the Beatles played their first concert in the
Uh huh.
United States. Of course, it was home to the New York Mets. Let's go Mets. And even if City Field is
Right.
exactly where it was, it is not that stadium. And we're
Hmm.
just, and I think that's unfortunate. Um, there are some things that I like about the field,
No.
but you don't need to
Yeah.
hear me talk about
This isn't the
ballparks all
park
episode.
cast.
This is not
It's not.
the Jason and Andrew ballpark cast, which is actually
Yeah.
wildly more
Yeah.
popular. That's number one in Algeria. So this is at City Field during Tuesday's $1 hot dog night. After a bizarre scenes, or sorry, let me restart the story because I realized I broke the flow of the sentence. A New York Mets fan was removed from his seat at City Field
Mm.
during Tuesday's $1 hot dog night after a bizarre scene where surrounding fans began throwing
Mm.
extra hot dogs at him in the ninth inning. The fan,
Hmm.
a welder from Westchester County, had to be moved from his seat by security in order to get the other fans to stop showering him
I
with
do very
spare
much like
hot
how they say
dogs.
spare hot dogs. Like that people just
Yeah.
had extra hot dogs, or I guess by the night.
Well, it was dollar dog night. You could get 5 hot
Okay.
dogs for a fiver.
So okay, that makes sense.
That's
Yeah. That they
you
yeah.
should not yeah. And
Oh no,
everything's
yeah, of course,
overpriced at a
yeah. That's one
ballpark.
of
It's
my
like an
big
airport, right?
criticisms.
So like
Yeah.
so, yeah, like uh absolutely wild. Now, I will say I saw some pictures on the New York Mets subreddit, and these were some like bad looking hot dogs. These were like the Mets had just broken their
Okay.
ended their losing streak in LA, and like they're kind of on a bit of a bum streak right now.
Okay.
With some wins and losses kind of
Mm.
scattered throughout. They're doing what the Mets do. Uh, and man, you looked at those hot dogs and you thought, like, did they execute Mr. Met and feed him to
I'm
the masses for this loss? Is this the meat of his little ball head or his
I'm
giant ball head?
I'm sort of impressed that like a major league baseball team, it does have dollar hot dog nights. Like I don't think I've ever paid less than like $5 for a hot dog at a baseball game. Oh, right,
Yeah, it's
right.
one
Like
night only, though. One
the
night
dollar
only.
hot dog shit was usually like
Yeah.
the minor league teams. That's why I'm a big fan of like any minor league sports because they
Yeah.
try so hard. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
and
yeah,
you get some really crazy games too. Like sometimes a lower
yeah,
skill
yeah.
level can
Hmm.
result in more dramatic games at times. Not always. Obviously, you've
Of
had some
course,
incredible stories that happen in Major League Sports. I mean, like the 2007 Giants Super Bowl victory over
yeah.
the
Uh-huh.
Patriots is like one of my formative sports memories, right? So like, there's a lot of stuff like that. But like I don't know. I've been to some minor league games, and like when you
Uh-huh.
see those games like go into the 12th,
Yeah,
13th inning so routinely, and like that win come out, um, like there
sure.
is something special there. So I would agree there. Um, but yeah, because also like dollar beer night ended a long time ago, right? Like in the 70s, they realized
Oh,
very
yeah.
quickly. I think back then it was
Right,
nickel beer
yeah,
nights.
that
In the
was
70s,
right.
beer actually just cost $1. But like Now, like, they would never do a dollar
Oh
beer
yeah.
night because they know that's a bad idea. But I think giving people that
Right.
much processed meat is so
Mhm.
much worse. Like, you don't want people
Mhm.
hyped up on meat sweats and sober.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Does it
fucked.
ever say why he was a target? Like him in particular?
Uh,
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
we will get to that. Um,
Thank you.
so I promise you, we will get to that. Uh,
Huh.
but I did have one other
Mm.
idea too. What if where they get you with this
Mhm.
deal is it's dollar hot dog night,
There you go.
$100
They
toilet
always have an
paper.
angle. Right.
Bring back pay toilets. Did they have pay toilets when you were a kid? I think that I found out that
I
was a
don't
thing
think I've
back in the
ever been
day.
anywhere in my life that has pay toilets. That I recall. If it was, I was like super, little, small enough that I don't
Yeah.
remember. But yeah, going places as a kid, no, I never saw a pay toilet.
Yeah, I think that I know they
Mm.
outlawed it in Chicago in the 70s, and the guy, part of the guy's argument was like, it doesn't even matter how much money you have because you need
Right,
specifically a quarter. So you could
right,
have $500 in cash, but if you cannot get to a change machine, which if you're out at night is very likely, especially in the
right,
70s, there's not
right.
like a fucking
Uh-huh.
Coinstar machine, right? Like, I don't think
No.
I don't think there was Coinstar back then.
Yeah.
You had to talk to like a guy
Uh-huh. Yeah.
and he'd steal
Mhm.
your money. You could fucking do math, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like just a different vibe. So anyway, while fans at City Field are limited to 4 hot dogs per customer by the
That's
letter
a
of the
lot of hot
promo,
four is a lot of hot
uh,
dogs, even for me.
four is honestly 4 is probably my
Mm.
one sitting max on hot dog. Like I've had
Uh-huh.
4 hot dog nights. If I don't really have lunch and I'm having hot dogs for dinner and it's not hot dog, like I'm not doing like a
Right.
chili dog, I'm not really doing a big side. I could do that, or like a barbecue day, where you're having essentially like
Right.
the lunch dinner
Right.
from like
You're
2
just
p.m. to
spending
8
5
p.m. Like
hours,
I'll do
like,
4
just
hot
eating
dogs.
and drinking constantly.
Uh yeah. Yeah, well, but
Mhm.
Jason, the other things, I know you're not a sports guy, and I'm not really like a
Mhm.
big sports guy. I'm more of a casual sports fan, but rules changes have happened in the MLB
Okay.
to drastically speed up the pace of games too. So going to a Mets game that used to be like maybe
Sure.
like could be like
Sure.
a 5 or 6 hour thing, like at least 4 or 5.
Okay.
Now you're looking at a 2 3 hour thing. So you are looking at
Okay.
2 hot dogs an hour if you're at the max. Um, but I get it. They gotta keep from wearing off, and I think it's reasonable. Again, like if this is what you're eating that day, reasonable. So while fans at City Field are limited to 4 hot dogs per customer by the letter of the promo, the fan in question had
Alright.
apparently gone all out for the night, wearing a hot dog hat and a handwritten shirt that read
Huh.
"Bad day to be a glizzy."
Okay.
Do you know what? Do you know?
I
I know
do
you're
not.
you're a bit older. Do you know the term glizzy? So this is a meme that went around on
Uh-huh.
TikTok for our Jason's age listeners. This is a meme that went around, I think, on
Sure.
TikTok and Reddit and like Instagram, uh, a year or two ago, where it was somebody saying that everybody in New York calls hot dogs
Okay.
glizzies, which is obviously not
Everyone
true,
just then
and then it just became
okay.
this thing where everyone just
So
starts
they
calling
sort of
hot
yeah,
dogs glizzies,
alright.
basically. Yeah,
Okay.
like kind of as a yeah, like glizzy is the shit poster term for a hot dog. If you went up to like a guy who goes outside and doesn't experience this all day, I guess if you go up to hot dog salesmen, they probably do experience this a lot. But if you like went up to if you went to like one of your like normal friends and were like, you want to go out and get some
Mhm.
glizzies? He'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Please get away from me. I
I
want a
thought it was
friend
some sort of a
horse.
slur, so I I wasn't gonna speculate.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
the shirt read "Bad day to be a glizzy" and featured a running tab of the
Oh,
ratio of hot dogs to beers consumed. The fan reveled in the hot dogs thrown his way, standing up. This was not written by AI. I will tell you that much. This is such a
okay.
dramatically written article. I got to change the voice I'm reading this in. The fan reveled in the hot dogs thrown his way, standing up and waving to others, but to keep throwing hot dogs his way before he was escorted from
I
his
do
seat to restore
declare.
order. Uh, the fan was none the worse for his adventure, and later told another fan the tale on the train back from the
So
game.
he sort of wanted this. He was asking for it, so to speak.
he
I mean,
he was
look,
asking for it, but I do
look
think
at
it
what he
got
was
out of
wearing.
hand to
He
his
was asking.
expectations. Yeah, I think he was. Yeah, I think he was expecting to have some hot dogs tossed his way. I don't think he was
Got it.
expecting the extent of the downpouring that he got.
It said you said it.
Um,
Yeah. No, sorry. Go ahead.
a good time.
I was
Oh, sorry.
I was going to
Sorry. No, ask
say.
your question. Ask your
You said
question.
the
We're
shirt featured a
journalists.
tally. Well, is there any indication what the final tally is?
Let me see. Oh, I found it. So he
Holy
had
holy
11 hot
shit!
dogs and 12
That
beers.
right.
That's insane. That's insane. And this guy looks like he
Yeah.
Kobayashi'd for this. I think this guy pulled a
Uh huh.
Kobayashi here. He looks very cut. So I think this guy legit. Like, I don't
Hmm.
think he dipped them in the beer or water or whatever. But I do think
Like
that this
like
guy like
he
prepped
ran
for the
like a
day.
half marathon
Uh,
before. Yeah.
he worked out, he was hungry, he figured out that ratio of like training to be able to eat
Uh-huh.
more food but also still being
No,
hungry
no.
day of,
Right.
because you don't want to eat too much before and fill yourself up, but you don't want to like be like, I'm just going to
Right.
starve myself, and then
Right.
your stomach's not ready for it. You got to be in a really
Yeah.
specific state. Competitive eating is hard,
No.
people die. uh
Oh.
Anyway, a good time was seemingly had by all, and the product on the field certainly helped. The Mets won 4-2 over the Chicago Cubs, improving to a winning record on the season at 15-14, entering
Mm.
another game against the Cubs on Wednesday night. The Mets, I believe, if I remember correctly, they lost that one and won the
Okay.
next one. So they did win the series,
Sure.
which nobody gives a shit about but me. But overall, this Mets season has started out good. Right now, it's not great. But if you guys want to know what being a Mets fan is like, just a constant
Hmm.
pendulum between euphoria and pain, but pain usually wins out. Uh, anyway, we're going to be right back. We're just taking a short 5-minute break on our end. You guys probably aren't
Right.
going to even hear it because I'm going to totally remember to edit it out.
All right.
We will see you in a bit. Yeah, I think that was actually pretty much exactly 5 minutes. Not that we would need to, push ourselves to do that, because I think we historically, if there's one thing that we're good at that the audience can't prove we're bad at, it is when we say we're going to take a 5-minute break, we'd never like be gone for like 15,
Right.
even 20, 25 minutes and then talk about some random bullshit that's not going to be in the
Right.
episode for like 30 minutes. And then sometimes Andrew forgets to even edit that
No.
out and just uploads it. That's not
No.
something that's going to fucking happen on
Yeah.
this show
We are professionals.
that you're going to hear. We are
Mhm.
goddamn professionals. Speaking of which, why don't
Our
you
next
take us to our
story
next story, Jason?
comes to us from upi.com, written by Monica Uppy.
Uppy. I think it's pronounced
Are you
Uppy.
being serious, or I don't know what it means. Uppy. Okay.
How would I
Fair
know?
enough. Written by Monica Danielle of AccuWeather.com. Yeah.
Wow.
Head,
AccuWeather has writers, huh? I thought they just gave the numbers to the
I don't know.
meteorologists.
I guess I don't ever look at AccuWeather beyond like, oh, it's gonna, there's a snowstorm coming, or a red flag warning or whatever. But I don't know. Maybe they have stories like the Weather Channel. They have all kinds of series now, right? Like you can watch. They have like, history's greatest storms, or that kind of bullshit.
Jason, sometimes I forget you're very close in age to my dad, and then you say things like the Weather Channel has all
I don't
kinds of
believe
interesting
interesting
series you can
came out
watch
of my
now.
mouth. I acknowledge their existence from from the numerous waiting rooms I've been in, waiting on oil changes or at the dentist.
I think the Weather Channel originals are the one place that they could cast
Right.
Kevin
How
Spacey and
would
no
they
one's
even
gonna
know?
notice on the
There'd be
internet.
like 8 people.
There's like gonna be no meme about that.
Not that we're suggesting they should. Oh, really? Yeah.
Oh, I am. Yeah, no,
Oh,
I didn't tell you I'm his agent now.
yeah.
It's my kind of side gig.
I don't know how I
Yeah.
feel about that. Maybe we need to look at re-examine our disclosure clauses in our podcasting contracts.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I have an idea for a future guest.
Let's put a pin in that.
All right.
Yeah, UPI.com. Headline: Active volcano in Antarctica spews tiny crystals of gold worth $6,000 a day. Please.
Wait, can I just pause for a second because that tangent
Yeah.
we just did actually did make me think of the Reddit question, which is who is the highest profile totally canceled celebrity that you do think we could feasibly get as a guest? We are not going to do it probably, but
Oh.
like who do you think it is? I'm just curious. And I want to know from the listeners. So please, if you listen on Spotify, answer it. I'm really curious. You will fucking kill me. I think I have my pick. Well, no,
Yeah,
actually, he's currently in prison, so I don't think we could get him. I think. Oh, this is a hard one.
Yeah.
I stumped myself.
You think
It
so?
might actually be Spacey.
Boy, I don't know.
I think Spacey might be a little too big and just not quite because he's not in jail. And I think that they kind of like if they're that big, they do need to be in prison.
Yeah.
Like realistically, if we could work it out with the prison phone, Jared Fogle,
No.
right? Like
Yes.
I'm not saying we should. It would be
Yes, I don't
bad
want him.
if
Yeah,
Jared
okay.
Fogle was on the
But-
podcast. However, we could.
Okay.
We could absolutely
But we're
get
just
Jared
choosing not
Fogle
to.
on the podcast. I choose every day not to put Jared Fogle on the podcast. Where's my fucking Nobel, Malala?
Man. Yeah, quite the tangent. Oh.
Anyway, continue with sorry, what was it? The Weather
No,
Channel? I didn't you gave me the headline yet?
Right.
Yeah, this is what we got from AccuWeather.
Active volcano in Antarctica spews tiny crystals of gold worth $6,000 a day. Yeah. Tucked in amongst the glaciers, fiery Mount Erebus is the southernmost active volcano on Earth, providing a bit of heat amid the frozen landscape. Yeah.
Well, I'm doing some math real quick about this.
A
You said
day,
it's $6,000 worth of gold a day. All right, so that produces $2.19 million in gold a year.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. I'm doing some other quick math real quick.
How much does it cost
and I do
to
have a
get to
point to
Antarctica?
this. No, we're gonna see. You'll see my point. You're gonna be like, "Wow, this guy's a genius." If you were that volcano, you would have to work for 456 years. More like 457, because I'm rounding down. So
Wow.
457 years to be a billionaire.
That really makes you think.
Yeah, it makes you think about why the fuck this volcano isn't working harder, for fuck's sake. Like, get a second job. Get a side hustle.
Right,
Why are
right.
you not posting on social
Yeah.
media? Shit
Well,
like that.
What's the investment strategy here? If you have $6,000 a day, yeah, what do you...
Yeah, I know. Like, are you... Yeah, this thing, seriously, it's just printing this, and it's like, what, putting into a low-yield savings account? Are you fucking kidding me? Get it on some ETFs. Maybe, I'm going to say, gamble a bit, put a little bit in crypto. You know what? Maybe this is not a sound investment advice.
Okay.
Sports betting. Yeah, because if you lose, right? If you lose, you just bet, like, again, and you're going to win that back, and then once you win that back, you're going to bet that, and then you're going to win more, which you then bet to win more, and you could just... It's like an infinite money thing, if you just have persistence and never give up.
Maybe we should have a talk about... off the air about... I would... Yeah.
Anyway, do you know you can't fucking bet on the Little League World Series? It's bullshit.
Because of the nanny state. You think, great.
Fucking Obama.
Pete Rose fucked it up for everybody. Yeah, the frozen continent features 138 volcanoes. Around 9 of them reported to be active. With a summit elevation of 12,448 feet, Mount Erebus is the most well-known. I'll take their word for that because I never heard of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that of the volcanoes on Antarctica, Mount Erebus is the one that I know the most about. Like the gold
Right.
thing is $6,000 of gold a day, and like would you say like 44,000 feet?
12,000. I
12
think
close enough.
44,000 feet would be insane for. I think I think Everest is what 30 or low 30,000 feet. 44,000 feet would be wild.
I'm Jason, I'm a short man.
Fair
You
enough.
can't just say
Fair enough.
heights at me. That's upsetting. You're fucking trying to fucking mug
Yeah.
me.
Uh, so I guess in a way, Mount Erebus is a micro celebrity. um, yeah.
Oh my god.
Erebus is one of three volcanoes that form Ross Island, which was said to be erupting when it was discovered in 1841 during the voyage of Captain James Clark Ross, who carried out important magnetic surveys in the Arctic and Antarctic and discovered the Ross Sea and the Victoria Land region of Antarctica. Man, that guy gets around the Arctic and Antarctic.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, and
I
somehow
know.
manages to avoid traveling through the
Mm,
middle.
right.
That's insane. Get fat.
I was gonna
This guy
say, yeah.
discovered fucking teleportation,
Right.
and we're not even
Yeah,
gonna fucking like
that's the
mention
real
it.
story here
Like
is this
what the fuck?
Captain James Clark Ross in the uh, middle 1800s found a way to
So I actually read about how he did those magnetic surveys though, and it's a little daring. Which is he got a Prince Edward piercing
mm,
and just saw where it got stuck to the
that's
ice
actually pretty
first.
clever though. Because that's yeah.
Yeah. No, it's they call that British seismography.
British seismography.
Which is the name of this episode, British
That's
seismography.
pretty good.
Favorite Radiohead album too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. I prefer OK Computer. Um that's a good one.
I like the Bends.
Um yeah, so scientists observe the volcano, Mount Erebus Volcano Observatory, conduct field experiments to look for extreme life forms. I imagine these are the what do they call those?
Mhm.
Extremophiles, like bacteria and shit that live in conditions that, like, up until relatively recently, we didn't know anything could survive in. So, like in super hot or super cold.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Uh
I know
huh.
Water
Yeah.
Bear is the classic example, right? I watched a fucking documentary about that thing when I was a kid, like on like
Okay.
what was it, fucking Animal Planet, I think would have
Uh
been the
huh.
channel. It was like the like most extreme animals. And it was like this is the number one. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's not really a fucking like it's
Right.
not like it, you know what people are looking for, right? You can't just be like it's
Right.
this one, but it's a microscopic organism, but technically it's like 3 cells. And
No,
it's
that's
like,
not
okay,
really.
well
Yeah,
like
that's not an
that's not
animal.
any that whatever. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I will accept
No,
cockroach
I
or
agree.
bigger.
Yeah, that's kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this station, they're observing it. Um, volcano regularly pumps out plumes of gas and steam and has been known to eject boulders of partially molten rock known as volcanic bombs. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Ooh,
while volcanic
that's
bombs are
cool.
exciting, it's the bursts of gas spraying tiny crystals of metallic gold that surprise scientists, who estimate the volcano spews around 80 grams of gold a day. That's worth around $6,000, presumably today's gold rates. Right?
Okay. Can I make a pitch here? And maybe this episode's been too
Yeah,
crass. What with the
right.
Jared Fogle thing? Um, if you are a screenwriter or a
Hmm.
director in the adult entertainment industry, it's all about the niches now. I think, right? It's all about like finding
Okay.
specific things people are into.
Sure.
'Cause you could get more it's like the mobile video game model where they wanna go with their
Sure.
whales who are gonna spend that money on microtransactions.
No,
Like, you and
no.
me are never gonna spend money on a mobile game, but there are some people who spend, like, hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. I think the same
Okay.
thing works for, like, the more extreme your fetish is, because then
Sure.
you gotta pay for porn more. So
Mhm.
if you're a director, writer in porn, You
Hmm.
take this story going on right now, there is some real
the
poop fetish
with
potential
the
here.
volcanic bombs
Uh
and yeah, the gold. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
or
right there.
golden shower because you have the gold thing too. You could make two versions
Yeah.
like Pokemon Red and
Wow.
Blue.
No, that's a good point. Uh, yeah, the gold dust has been found up to 620 miles away from the volcano. So it might be difficult to go like collect all of it if you have what what's it's 600 miles away. So whatever that radius, like that's a pretty big area to have to go collect $6,000 worth of gold.
Well, I mean, 600 miles. All right. So you're in like middle of nowhere.
No,
You're in
right,
Antarctica. This isn't like driving through New York, right? Um, Granted, you're in like the
yeah,
snowmobile, so I guess it's hazardous conditions. You get a team. I mean, I guess once you get a team, you are paying a staff, and then six thousand
right,
dollars a
right,
day is actually like not that much because like if you're running a full on business, then your business's income being 2.15 million a year, like
right.
isn't actually
Diminishing
that much if
returns.
you
Yeah,
have staff. But
yeah. I don't know. Well, and it also
yeah,
mentions like the science station there is like the largest settlement in Antarctica. It doesn't say anything about them collecting the money, which you would think like wouldn't they? Like if you were there, you wouldn't go out looking for some of this gold.
if there's also volcano bombs falling nearby, it's gonna take a bit more than like because if I think the
Okay.
volcano bombs are the problem. Yeah, because there's that. There's also like you are just wandering
No,
around Antarctica. You don't really want to do that. Um, you probably also really struggle with
I don't
visibility
really
there.
know.
You know, I don't know, but like I don't think that I would be looking near the volcano. I think there are other ways to get money.
Oh,
Now, crypto
absolutely.
fraud,
Yeah.
that's a way to make some money. Yeah.
Hmm.
Speaking of which, UNT coin
Oh, wow.
launching it right now. You just send cash directly to me. I'll like
Sure.
text you the coin or
However
whatever
that
the
works.
fuck in
Let me
some
go
point.
collect some of this volcano gold,
Yeah.
and I'll buy a coin.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna get it's a share of volcano gold in the
Mm,
metaverse.
yeah, yeah. Unlimited earning potential there. Like the value, it's only ever going to go up.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And if there's
It's
ever
true.
a metaverse
Yeah.
war, you get the volcano bombs. So win-win.
Right.
You
Win
sell the
win.
volcano bombs for more volcano gold. For more volcano gold. Holy shit! I feel like I just had a stroke saying that sentence.
No, this actually sort of sounds like a mobile phone game where you have to go out and dodge volcanic bombs to collect gold.
No, this would be sick.
That's kind of the gameplay loop as you just get better and better at collecting gold, but then you have to collect more and more gold, and it just never ends.
Man, man. Isn't that
Right. Those
just,
damn
just life
volcanic
as well?
bombs. All right. I think
Yeah.
you go ahead and take us home for our last story of the season, season one.
Hell yeah. Last story of season 1.
Mhm.
This is the season finale. Um, we'll have to find a dramatic cliffhanger to close on. This is from
Mhm.
ksat.com via the Associated Press, or it's
Okay.
the Associated Press via ksat.com. Zebras get loose near highway exit, gallop into Washington community before
Hmm.
most are corralled. Um, it's
Okay.
happened in North Bend, Washington. Now I know you
I
used to
didn't
live
live
in
there, but
Bend,
I've been there.
Oregon, right? And
Yes.
Washington and Oregon are
Well,
right next to each other, right?
yep.
And Washington is north of Oregon. Is that like a thing where like
No,
that's right the
Bend is
border of
sort of
Bend?
central, maybe even a little bit south Oregon. I think they're
Yeah.
I think they're just
And you
names.
said that's like
Mhm.
you told me yeah. I think I remember
Yes.
you telling me that's like meth country, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe not so
Man.
much Bend, but yeah, that's yeah.
I got him.
Do our tour.
We should do some shows.
We'll uh-huh.
All right, North Bend, Washington. was unusual wildlife sighting Sunday when four zebras escaped from their trailer
Wow.
and galloped into a Washington neighborhood. Three
Mhm.
of the four black and white striped animals were quickly captured, but the fate of the
Mhm.
fourth wasn't in, the fate of the fourth wasn't immediately known Monday.
Mhm.
Washington State Patrol Trooper Rick Johnson said the zebras were being transported from Washington to Montana when the driver took
Sure.
Interstate 90 exit for North Bend, located about 30 miles
All right.
southeast of Seattle, to secure the trailer. That's when the zebras bolted. Witness Dan Barnett of North Bent told King TV of Seattle that he was in disbelief when he saw the zebras eating grass
Sure.
off the side of the off ramp. He and other drivers helped protect the zebras from the busy nearby interstate. As drivers in the off ramp pulled over to make a makeshift fence
Mhm.
to block the animals from the
Mm.
highway, Barnett says. You know what I will say? If you're a cop, if there's one emotion I think you
Yeah,
need to
you
get
think
rid of,
so?
it is disbelief. You do need to, like, you need to disbelieve that, like, teenagers with, like, shopping bags are gonna kill you, but you do need to believe it when you see a zebra literally right in
Right.
front of you. That's what you do
Fair
need
enough.
to believe. So I think that cops need to switch up what they do and don't believe
I
it a
think
little
that's
bit,
fair.
maybe, is my constructive
I think that's
criticism
fair.
of
Yeah.
American policing. Uh, he and other drivers helped protect the zebras from the busy nearby interstate as drivers in the off ramp pulled over to
Mm.
quote unquote make a makeshift fence to
That's
block the
pretty
animals
clever.
from the highway, Barnett said. The
Oh,
zebras then
yeah.
began heading. Oh, it is extremely clever. Yeah. Uh, they're corralling.
Mhm.
They're doing a good job here. Uh, I will say, like, I feel like, all right, if a cop asks you, can you do something to help these zebras, and you're on your way home from work, I might be like, I can't because there's like a 60% chance I see this cop freak out and shoot three zebras, and then me to stop me from
No, it
saying
is.
anything.
I will say, like, because we've covered a few of these kind of stories, and these sorts of stories come up a lot. Like, in our extensive research, you know, there's like
Yeah,
we right. Well, and yeah,
cop says
and
animal
like we
stories.
don't cover the majority of them, but literally every week there's at least a couple of like, you know, uh bull on the highway, or peacock running loose through neighborhood, or and
Holy shit! If I saw a peacock in my neighborhood, um, I think I work from home. I would still probably call off of work if I
I think
saw a
that'd be it.
peacock in my neighborhood. Think I could still text my boss and be like, "Hey, there's a peacock outside of my house. I'm taking the day off to like see how this plays out."
um but yeah,
If I got booked and there was a
right,
peacock outside of my house, I'm not showing up.
right,
I
yeah,
mean, that's
yeah, you don't know
obvious.
what
That's
that
a legitimate
peacock's
threat,
capable
right?
of.
But like, I legitimately do not know what a peacock. Peacocks are
No,
like human
no,
size, right? They're
they're
like six
about
feet tall.
no, they're I don't know,
Oh, they're not.
like they're kind of lanky, like they have long necks, so
I grew up in
I don't know,
Jersey. They don't
maybe
have them.
3 feet, 4 feet, like the head, like they're good sized birds, but I know at the like
Size
Cincinnati
of a
Zoo,
child.
they just sort of walk freely, like you know, yeah, like they didn't have an
Like
enclosure; they would
throughout the
just sort of
zoo?
walk around. I don't think they're.
Wait, that's not. They don't like peck
I don't
people.
think
They
so.
take their
I
food.
mean, I think if you threw popcorn at them, they might eat it, but I don't.
Do any of our listeners work at the Cincinnati Zoo? Underworld News
Right?
Tonight at gmail.com. What are you guys doing with the peacock? That is
No,
fucking insane. Did you work at the
uh,
Cincinnati Zoo?
I've
How do
been
you know
there.
about?
Yeah,
Oh, but
a
you went
handful
there.
of times. Yeah,
So you'll just be walking around and a peacock will be like
yeah.
what, like
They'll just be
next to
like
you?
kind
Like
of
you'll just like
strutting down
pass
the
by
walkway.
one?
But
Doesn't it upset the like lions and shit in their enclosure to see like a loose peacock
it didn't
and they're
look
like, I
like
want
it
to eat
did.
that?
I don't know. Maybe they're secretly resentful that the peacock gets to just walk around, and they have to be in like a little like concrete and chain link fence enclosure. But
Oh, so is the Cincinnati Zoo? We're getting
uh huh,
sidetracked here, and I will get back on topic in a
right.
minute. But It's the end of the season, guys.
Right.
It is the end of the fucking season. Give us a break. Uh, so Cincinnati Zoo, is that like, all right? So my like peak
Hmm.
zoos are like the Smithsonian Zoo. I from what I was very little when I went there, so I'd have to go
Hmm.
back. But like I remember the Bronx Zoo being pretty nice, but
Yeah.
maybe I was so little that that's totally off base. Philadelphia has a very nice zoo, especially their orangutan area. Um, are these? Would you put the Cincinnati Zoo in that category, or is it like these animals are in like chain link fence, or is it like
Oh,
somewhere in between?
okay.
Like, Smithsonian is like the gold
I
standard.
think that it's pretty it's a decent zoo. I think they're like it's pretty good size
Yeah.
and
It seems like every animal in their enclosure, it's like they've got
yeah,
it. They
to
feel
the
like they're in
extent that
nature pretty much.
zoos are I think we've have been hinted like maybe not the best. It depends on the zoo, but like yeah,
Well, it
yeah,
depends on the zoo, though. This is what I keep saying. I keep mentioning the Smithsonian as an example because, like, the Smithsonian Zoo, like, and a lot of these research and
yeah,
conservation zoos, it's like very good that they
right,
exist.
right,
It's very important, right? And they take all sorts of steps to create
yeah,
these really natural looking habitats. Like, I've been to zoos where like you will go into like in the classic, the good example is sometimes you can't see the animals. This is a part of their enclosure that's facing
yeah,
the wall. Sometimes
right,
they're doing
uh-huh,
something else and they're just
yeah,
not going to be there. And you just have to live with that, right? Like I know there's the
yeah,
John Mulaney bit of like tell the lion we're here, but like
mhm,
which is one of my favorite bits, but like
yeah,
that's a
yeah,
good example of like a good zoo, right? And like they also do a lot of
yes,
work
yeah,
for like habitat conservation and like injured animals that are injured in nature being put into different rehabilitative
yeah,
habitats that are
mhm,
almost totally separate, right? And the reality is like listen, like there's a lot of work that
mhm,
needs to be done on conservation. I think that like and I think that like if you're like, oh, these animals shouldn't be in
mhm,
zoos, you also should be advocating for that because like if you're like orangutans are a really good example, and that's like
mhm,
as I keep saying, like the primate that I probably
yeah,
have the most like
yeah,
emotional affinity for. Probably least
mhm,
I'm least scared of them of the great apes, you know. And like an orangutan, like if you're like these should never be in a zoo no matter how nice the enclosure no matter how natural the habitat and stuff like that, like I might not totally agree. I think there are levels and I think there
sure,
are like things like make this as natural as possible and like if it needs to happen, but also like you know things like
right,
palm oil production and stuff like that that are like orangutans are
right,
losing
mhm,
their habitats en masse. So if you don't
right,
want to like if you're not saying like shit about that, then like what are you going to do? Now there are these other like
yeah,
private
yeah,
zoos and like shit like that that is a shit show, and at least in my experience, I mean we both used to
uh-huh,
kind of tangentially work in animal welfare. I
yeah,
wouldn't, and you're more connected to that sector than I am.
yeah,
Like we were kind of on the
no, no,
fundraising side, so I don't think we were really like experts in any of this. But like I think part of the problem is honestly like the AZA, the American
mhm,
Zoological Association, that does this accreditation. There is such a wide range of zoos that do get
it's not
accredited with that
meaningful,
that I don't think
right,
it's a good like
right,
indicator.
right.
Yeah, I
No,
don't think it's a good
I
indicator.
think, I think the Cincinnati
Yeah.
Zoo is it's a pretty good zoo, like, as far as animal welfare and conservation. Um, I should point out that is, where Hammurabi, if you remember, that's where Harambe, excuse me,
Okay.
what did I where did I
Harambe.
oh, of the code of laws. Yeah,
Yeah, Hammurabi is a
right,
very different figure than Harambe.
right. Um,
Although ironically,
kill the zoo, yeah.
Hammurabi's code
No,
is
it
that you
fits,
don't
yeah.
kill Harambe.
Yeah, so
Uh,
Cincinnati
yeah.
Zoo is where that happened. And it's also home to I don't know if she's still as popular, Fiona the hippo. Like one of her being born there at the Cincinnati Zoo was like a huge deal. And she was kind of oh
When
crap.
was this?
Um
I'm gonna look this up.
it feels like forever to me, but maybe 10 years ago, 15.
Uh,
Okay.
7 years ago,
Oh, okay. Maybe
Fiona.
it's
I've
just because
never heard
I'm
of
from
this.
there. But,
Because she was the first hippo imaged on
mhm.
ultrasound and the first born of the zoo in
Yeah.
75 years. But she was a preemie, so she had to be cared for with
Okay.
assistance at
Right,
the
right, right,
Cincinnati
right.
Children's Hospital.
No, no.
Very interesting story, but we're not going to tell it here. So anyway, these zebras, they got loose. Motorists started helping out. But you were saying that we hear a lot of
Yeah,
these stories, cops
right. Yeah.
rescuing
And,
loose animals.
yeah, yeah, and somehow, yeah, they never managed to end up getting shot.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, obviously, like, I mean, I was joking about it. Like, I feel like a zebra, you're not gonna like. I feel like it's got to be pretty hard to be
Right.
like, you know, obviously it could kick you or whatever,
It's
but
not a
like,
threat. I do have questions. I do have questions.
yeah, if you do, you're
Right.
just gonna spook the other
I do have
zebras and they'll
questions
get
as to
away.
why what four zebras were doing being going from Washington state to Montana, as that's not their natural, neither is their
Yeah,
natural
I'm trying to
habitat
see.
or even close to it.
Yeah, I would assume that this was zoo
No,
related because I don't
no.
think we have zebra meat. Um, so I would assume this is zoo related, but the article doesn't
Yeah,
say.
yeah, please.
We are going to continue this
Yeah.
article though because it does get more interesting. So they build this makeshift fence. They block them from the highway. Uh,
Mhm.
they get them headed towards towns. They are trotting past brunch patrons at a restaurant near the interstate exit. Soon after, they end up in
Mm,
Whitney
okay,
Blomquist's backyard. This is a local
okay.
resident of the area in question. I called someone that was like, "So I found the missing zebras. They're in my yard." Yeah,
That's
not sure
valid.
what to
Yeah.
do, which is about what I would say. I'd probably be like, please send someone
Right.
because my dog
Yeah,
is freaking
yeah.
the fuck out and I have a podcast to record.
Right,
And my dog is losing his fucking
mhm,
mind and
right.
they will kick his little
Imagine
shithead brain
imagine
in.
ho imagine how an emotional support alligator would
I
be reacting to that.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
that's
Probably
true.
just sitting there. That's all those fuckers do. If the yeah. Uh, yeah, so, the zebras then ran into a neighboring yard where 2 were
Huh,
captured with the help of rodeo professionals. The third, the baby of the herd, was corralled later. Johnson posted photos of the loose zebras on the social platform X. "This is a first for me and all the Washington State Patrol troopers
mm.
involved," he wrote. Crazy.
I
It doesn't say what
huh,
happened to the 4th zebra. So, presumably, if it doesn't say, I
yeah,
think we know.
or
Let me check. I'm
okay,
gonna check. I'm gonna do my due diligence right now. Washington
or,
zebras.
oh,
That zebra is still on the loose. That zebra is still on the loose as of 1 hour ago. And the officials are closing trailheads
mm,
to keep people away. Um, Nothing says what the zebras. I'm trying to find what the zebras were doing in this trailer, and I do not fucking know. Now, one thing I do know is that like because a lot of these zoos are such complicated operations, I can think of a scenario where they're like, we send this zebra to this like these
well,
like
that's true,
large
yeah,
mammal vets or something like that. But even that, no, 'cause they would visit the zoo. They would visit the fucking zoo.
right, and
They have vets at the fucking zoo. Are they on loan to another zoo? What the fuck is that?
and
Why are
if
these
that was the
zebras in a
case,
goddamn
like, there
trailer?
has to be more large animal vets, and you said the town is, like, 30 miles southeast of Seattle. There's cer there's there's probably
Yeah,
more
go let's take a
veterinarians
look
in
at
the
Seattle.
Seattle area than there are in the entire state of Montana. Like, yeah, it
Oh
doesn't
my
it
god.
doesn't make sense to me, like,
This is
what
I'm
was
like so
being accomplished.
oh my god. I can't believe we're taking can't believe we're taking 2 weeks off 'cause I'm gonna be losing my fucking mind about this the whole time. Uh, but anyway, when we get back, if there are any updates on the zebras, we will let you know. If there's not any updates, we
Right,
will also just be like it's
right,
still on the loose. So if you see a
right.
zebra, don't call us, call animal control and they'll figure it out.
I don't know,
Probably not
yeah.
the cop. I don't know
Yeah, I don't know
who's gonna
why
deal with that.
the cops are always
Um,
involved in
Man,
chasing animals around.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, but who's to say? Here's what I will say is that while we're on our break, you guys should still keep following us
Mhm,
on your social media platforms of choice. You can find us Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, or Instagram,
mhm,
TikTok, Facebook,
mhm,
YouTube. Underworld News Tonight. And of course, you can also find me Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Andrew Michaels Comedy. It's where you'll find, among other
mhm.
things, me just making little
Yeah.
jokes around the house and clips of my stand up. You are going to see raunchier material on my TikTok and YouTube than you will on my Instagram because my parents and my in laws follow that one. So that one is, you know,
Right.
there are
Yeah.
certain jokes that just don't make it there on stage.
Mhm,
So that are on stage but are not, So if you want it uncut, if you want it totally
mhm.
uncut,
Get
uh like
mhm.
like the throbbing member of Jason Strong, You can visit my YouTube and TikTok, Andrew Michaels Comedy.
Mhm.
Speaking of Jason Strong's throbbing
Yeah,
member,
Jason
Jason,
B.
you're also
Strong.
on Instagram,
My
aren't you?
number is nary to be found.
Yeah.
No,
No dick pics yet. We've been petitioning Zuckerberg. He said, "Please stop calling me.
right.
Also, my name
I
is
don't know.
not Mark
Right,
Zuckerberg. I am
right.
literally
Yeah,
some
I don't
guy
know
at the
if I
library,
am or
and you
what you
need to
think
leave
I
me
can
alone."
do, but
Uh, I don't know how you think I'm Mark Zuckerberg. I'm a 73-year-old
right.
year old Korean woman. But, we're gonna keep waiting to hear from the
Uh,
Silicon Valley wonderkind on that one. But in the meantime, you can find his sketches, you can find his art. He does a
yeah.
lot with his hands. He does some drawings. Uh, so yeah, you can check that out. Um, Jason, are you worried at all about how these people? Oh, by the way, before I ask this question, vote on your favorite story on Spotify if you listen on Spotify and answer that Spotify question. Again, what I want to know is who is the highest profile canceled celebrity that we can get on the show. I think it is Fogel. I think I can if we can arrange it with the
No,
prison. Not that we
I
should,
think we
Jay. You
probably
don't think we
could,
could
but
land
yeah, we're not
Fogel?
going to.
We're
Okay,
not. I didn't say we were going to, but I just want, for
sure.
the record,
Yeah,
we could land
yeah.
Fogel. Um, but let us know who you think. I don't think we could land Spacey. Let us know who you think. In the
Mhm.
Spotify question. If you don't listen on Spotify, you can still let me know who you think at underworldnewstonight@gmail.com. Anyway, Jason, what I wanted to ask is, are you worried about, and sorry, I don't want to insult our audience before our break and leave a bad taste in their mouth. Are you worried about what these goddamn pigs who honk up our fucking content slough like the gross little piggies they are? Oink, oink, oink. Uh, are you worried about what they're going to do when we're gone
Uh,
for 2 weeks?
no, I think they'll be okay. I think they'll muddle on just fine without us. But I think 2 weeks is a good enough time that they'll start feeling that kind of that aching void that our nonsense used to fill. And
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I think that
Yeah, and when if you need to fill that void, just play back an old episode and remember that we're already here because it's all
right.
phantom time
Thanks.
right now.